Hey everybody, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel.
Happy December.
I'm Star, and this is my friend Don. He's a little weird, but we love him anyway.
It's the only time I'm going to be able to get to wear this swag in Arizona.
If you didn't know, Don lives outside of Phoenix, and it's still 100 degrees.
It is 54 or 55.
Ooh.
So I wear this when I go to the refrigerator.
We are at 45 today, so we're pretty close.
That's probably my high or my low. Anyway, welcome to December.
Welcome to December 1st. So it is the last month of Q4 and the last month of 2023. You guys, where did this year go? I don't know. I'm going to be coming out with a series in this month, setting up our bullet journals for next year. Don and I are probably going to talk a little bit about planning today and goal setting. Let's see who's here. Bobby loves to thrift. I don't have eyeballs on. Can't see. All right, I can see now. Hey, Jennifer's here.
Hey, Jen.
That's our friend from List Perfectly. So if you didn't know List Perfectly, actually, I had Josh on last week on the Friday show, and we talked a lot about the List Perfectly community. That's how I met Don.
Mm-hmm.
How I met Jennifer. It's a really great community. It's a great tool for your business, but I think what you get out of the listing parties and meeting people and being a part of the community is worth the subscription just as much as the tool.
It's amazing how in my business, and you'll probably hear about this later, I jumped ship, and the growth of my business in just the year that I've been a member of List Perfectly, and so much that I've, the amount of information that I've learned from the individuals that I've now called friends is phenomenal in the growth of both me personally and developmentally, structurally, as far as the way that I run my business. And I mean, you could see it. I don't know how much I can attribute to it, but I'm excited. And Star, I watched for 3 years before I jumped ship, and then even got on the platform. So I was a late bloomer. And,
yeah, so was this one. Yeah. Jason and Don watched me for years, and finally signed up under my code. If you didn't know, you can try List Perfectly 30% off with code flippinhippos. And if you don't like it, you cancel it. There's no obligation. You can also go up and down in your subscription every month with no penalties. You can put your stuff on hold. Like if you have 1,000 things in your catalog and you move across the country, you can cancel your subscription until you're ready again, and your 1,000 things will still be there. Mm-hmm. Ask me how I know. I moved to Florida. But it's phenomenal for your business, and I talk about that on this channel. I have a tutorial playlist. I talked about it with Josh. We did some screen shares. But today I really wanted to focus on the community part of it, because that is how I met Don. And Don and I usually see eye to eye. Sometimes we don't. We get into heated arguments. But I wouldn't say arguments, debates.
We just agree to have the difference of opinion on some of the ways that we do things.
Yes, but for the most part, we do things a lot very similar.
Yeah.
But Don himself and a bunch of people over here in the chat, I am happy to call my actual friends, and I wouldn't have met them on. I've met a lot of friends on Instagram, at FlipCon, at Boss, other areas of the reselling community, but most of my friends, I think I actually met through List Perfectly. And Don is a fellow recipient. Do you have yours, Nair?
Yeah.
So List Perfectly also recognizes people who help out at the listing parties and in the community. And these are List Perfectly Community Spirit Award. I've won one. Don, our friend Cam from Canada.
Canada. Yeah.
His is in a big. Who else has won?
He goes to Oregonamos for lunch. He has one. Stuart Little has one. Liz has one.
Yeah. So they do they recognize you through this. They give out free months of List Perfectly for hosting listing parties. We won't say who just won the last 2 weeks and got 2 free months of List Perfectly.
It's all random, so there's no favorites just because she's star.
No, it's random. It's a wheel. They have witnesses. I never win anything in my whole life, and suddenly I'm lucky. But so there's listing. Excuse me. I think I'm still sick, but we're gonna plow through. I'm gonna share my screen. And Dawn, while I scroll down, you can talk about some of these listing parties.
So a number of the things that I remember starting back in, I think they started a little bit before January, but the big one in January was the mastermind call that encompasses a lot of the members of List Perfectly. It's probably one of the biggest groups where, members and some of the influencers, I'd say influencers loosely, but some of the educators from List Perfectly will pop in periodically. Mm-hmm. It's run by Trish Glenn. She's a fantastic hostess. She comes in with a number of topics. We sit there. It's great when 20 or 30 people can come into a room, have a difference of opinion, learn and grow from each other. And that in the beginning stages, especially probably in the first 6 months of me being in the program, I learned so much about not only the program, but my business and what I wanted to do and how I had no clue of what this was going to do and where I'm at today.
Hold on, I didn't know Jill was doing one. I'm totally
interrupting you. Jill's doing one tonight. She's got the Silent Night. So anything from yours truly to Star, and when she does her true crimes on Fridays, we do a show together on Wednesdays that's just about stopping what you're doing and relaxing for a little bit.
Jennifer does one on how to work with ADHD.
Yep. There's anything from we've got connecting, we've got networking, we've got
Clara herself doing one.
Clara will start. She's been doing a lot of Monday motivations.
Here's the drawing every week.
Yes. Sundays, they make it live so that you know that it's very random. But anybody right now that hosts a party throughout, I don't know if they're going to do it beyond December, but anybody that's hosting a party gets put into the drawing for chances at the end of the week to win a month of List Perfectly. It's completely random. They do it to where you can see what's going on. So you have that good confidence that you've done something. Charlene does a great, it's sort of like a blend of thinning out some of the things that you have in your life, a Marie Kondo method, working towards retirement so that you can go ahead and list items that, how many of us have family members that don't necessarily want to do what we do in the event that we're not around anymore?
Yeah.
So
she also does a lot with Fly Lady, which you guys that have been watching this channel for any length of time, you're going to hear a lot more about her too, because she will be a feature in setting up bullet journals for 24. I've been following Fly Lady for 20 years. So anyone that teaches her on List Perfectly, go you, because she's to your house what Dave Ramsey is to your money. And I'm all about, but if you have a organized life and you have routines and you do cleaning in a certain order and you do your work and your listing and your thrifting, if all aspects of your life are organized, everything's going to run more smoothly, because you're not going to be going, I haven't cleaned my bathroom in 2 weeks, and not list because you got to go clean your bathroom because it's scheduled that you do it right before the crafting party every Wednesday. So when you have these routines in place and everything is smooth and everything is organized, your entire life, your business, your productivity, your profits, your mental health, your well-being, everything's going to be smoother because everything's running situationally autopilot, basically. And talking about organization, if you don't have an organized shipping station, shame on you, because I've been talking about it for 7 years. You should be able to go pull your item. You should be able to look at the SKU, pull the item this easily, bring it to a station, pull the envelope that you need, and print your label. It should be that. What is the word I want?
Efficient?
Yes, it should be that efficient and that smooth. And Dawn has a really good inventory system too.
I do. The way that I thought about it on the inventory side when I first started to do the business. And I actually have a front load system where many people may have boxes that are labeled and things like that. But I can actually go pick my items, bring them over, have them in my station, which is right next to me. Every box that I use is over there, every bubble wrap or and I'm on 5 different platforms right now. So they treat their shipping a little bit different, and it's not as intimidating as what it needs to be. If you streamline it to where you look, if you look for the easy in a lot of the shipping sections, you don't have to have 50 boxes for things, maybe a good 3 or 4 sizes that may fit everything that you have. You don't have to have the perfect size for everything. You don't have to have the perfect bag, because the system is designed now to be very forgiving on especially ground. Ground has become very reasonable. It does get the efficiency of getting from one coast to the other very easily. So I think overthinking a lot of our shipping can slow us down. If you can make it simple, if you can make it in an area that's compact, I think you're gonna reap the benefits of that fast. Brian, who is with us right now, he's the extreme. He has big and bulky and random and odd sizes, and fortunately,
he has a lot of musical instruments.
He's got a system designed to where he's got some space to do that. But once again, it seems to be, I only see him at face value and see what's behind him. It seems to be organized. He knows what he's going to do. He's got a lot to put out. He's a very high volume seller when it comes to things like that. And it's awkward. So he's even got alternatives for things that don't just stick the label and send it out to USPS.
Yeah. Brian is also a List Perfectly friend that Don and I met in the community and at camp. And he'll be on this channel next month. I forgot when I scheduled you, Brian. I'm so sorry. It's written down. That's why I write everything down. Got to write everything down. So what was I going to say? Something about Plush. Oh, if you're a Plush seller, which Don also is, the not having to have the perfect size bag, because they fold and they bend. You can fold their legs over. You can squish their heads down. And trust me, buyers don't care. I've sold thousands of Plush just this year, and I squish them because they're plushies. Don't I have some in here? Are they the plush queens?
She may have a couple.
There's only 1,000 in this room right now. You can cram them however you need. I suggest putting the label on the bag first, because putting the label on the bag once it's bulked out. Hey, speaking of, did you get your prize from eBay?
Yes.
What are we supposed to do with these? Let's tell the people. Let's teach the people, because I can't figure it out.
You wear them around your neck to let people know how special you are.
Like, we got stickers.
They're gift tags. Yes, the stickers are cute. Yeah. And then the shipping bag.
Inside the poly bag, or?
Well, back in the day, people would put those on their Christmas packages to let people know whose package it was that they were going to be opening.
Right, I understand that.
But before we just wrote on the front of them a magic marker, or we only had one person to give gifts to, so it didn't matter.
But how are you tying it to your?
With a pretty little bow? I don't know.
I put her in a poly bag. I think
I'm just going to tie them around her neck and then put a little handwritten thank you on them. I mean, be creative. You have a creative.
Do you know what Keith's idea was? Let me show you. It was stupid.
You have a creative show for at least an hour or two once a week.
He said to put the plush in there. And then and I'm like, no, you're ridiculous.
And then put your shipping label on it?
No, put the shipping label on. And like the smaller plushies you could put in there.
Right.
And then squeeze it like a hard candy.
And ship it like that?
And tie it on there. And I'm like,
I think you need to trade him in. He's not that creative.
That's why he does the spreadsheets, the accounting, and the guides.
Or you put it in a box and you tape it to the outside of the box, and that's the way you work.
I think I'm just going to tie it to my friends.
It was funny because Jill had mentioned to me, we were talking about it. She said, Don, do you think you're going to use the tags? And I went, not sure. See, isn't that adorable?
I use these. I'm almost out already.
They sent me 15. I don't know how I know that. Maybe it's I used to be an inventory counter way back in the early days.
There's a lot of these.
Yeah. I think there was 15 of those too. You just don't use them as fast.
And then we got tissue paper. These were, if you attended the eBay winter seller check-in, and then you answered if you were one of the first 1,000 people to answer the survey after, and trust me, after every eBay open, I go to my email and I'm like, F5, 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 which is refreshed, by the way, if you're not
This is my favorite eBay swag of the year.
Mine is all the way downstairs, so I'm not going to go get it, because then I come back.
It's great for those cold winter 45-degree days in Arizona.
I actually worn mine already. So Wednesday,
so
we saw each other Wednesday at the listing party, but I told you I'd gone to Walmart that day. It was snowing and it was like 30 degrees. And I'm like, I'm going to wear my eBay scarf. So I did actually, after eBay opened, my emails, Dawn probably remembers, weren't coming until like an hour and a half after the event. And I was really sad. I'm like, there's no way I was in first. There's no way. And then one day this box showed up and I got all of the prizes. I call them prizes.
Jen, did you get some of the other swag from the other days?
I got everything. And I was like, how did I do that? Maybe I have friends. I also got, Dawn knows, every Wednesday, I'm like, I went and bought more wallflowers. I went and bought more. So now they're sending me coupons because they know they got me. Let's see, there's a question. Wow, the chat really flew up for a second. Let me make sure we're caught up. We said hi to Brian. We have a question. Okay. Would you ship a 26-inch Talk and Sing Barney? So does he weigh over a pound? And how sturdy is he? Because there's some plush, I think, that are talkies. That's what I call them. That I would still put in a poly bag. But any plush that weighs over a pound, I'm going to go get it. You can order these for free. Don't look at my pajama pants. Do not judge me. I work from home. These are my cool old lady pants. You can order these for free.
Yeah.
They're 12 by 11.75 by 8. So I just call them the 12 by 12 by 9s. And so anything that weighs over a pound, I put in here. If it's electronic and expensive, I'll use a box.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a $12 Walgreens singing snowman, poly bag. How about you, Don?
I'm one that, and to me, it depends on whether you sold it on like eBay or Poshmark. Poshmark, absolutely 100% in a box.
Yes.
If you have a plush that has a mechanical box on the inside, a talking box, that would make it heavy or clunky, or if dropped, in a poly bag may break. I am going to err on the side of caution and put it in a box. But if you say that it is soft and you're not worried about like mechanics breaking in it, I would also poly bag it. But it, if you're going eBay, I would do ground. It's probably the least expensive, but you can always go onto other platforms and try that. But yeah, $40 sale, Poshmark in a box, absolutely. I don't buy, and I would have to say my best shopping buddy, surrogate mother in the whole world, Katie, that I go out with once a week to go shopping for. I usually will take the ones with the talkie boxes and I'll give them to her, like the Chantilly lace bears and things like that, because number one, I think she has a lot of fun when she gets to record them and put the video up on eBay. I don't do that.
I love to play with my
plush. I'll err on the side of the caution, and I've got enough 28 boxes of unopened blue box plush in my garage. And those are just the unopened ones. I've got plenty, so I don't search them out. They're cute, but that's not one of the things that I sell.
A $40 sale, yeah, I would definitely put in a box. So Brian said it was a good question. Would it change your way of shipping? It's kind of more on price for me and weight. Any plush that weighs over a pound goes in a box, and I charge accordingly. Mm-hmm. But it's also cost. If it's a wee little, I say the snowman because I just photographed one this morning, and that's who I'm thinking of. He was a little Walgreens, and you squished him, and he had this weird voice, jingle bells. I might go find him and play with him for you guys. But he's gonna go up for like $7 or $8 plus $5 or $6 ship. He's gonna go in a bag. But if it was a $40 Barney, he's $400. Okay, we have another question here. This is a good one. So wait, before we delve into questions, we totally skipped the whole part at the beginning of the live show where Don tells us
who I am and where I'm from.
Yeah, a little bit about yourself, how you came to be a full-time seller, and what you sell. And while you talk, I'm going to be back here digging for Frosty.
You got plenty of time because I'm a good talker. My name is Don, and the largest store that I actually have 6 different stores that I'm running right now. But my largest one on eBay is called the Donovan Collection. I have been an eBay member for about 24 years, 25 years. I've held the account that long, but I've not been active on it. I had a job in the apartment community industry for 24 years. It's a drinking game.
Every time Don says, I used to work in the apartment management community.
Everybody that knows me drinks.
We have to drink.
But I did that for 24 years. And, you know, I had a regional manager that retired at 55. And I looked at, and I said, you know what? I could do that. I've worked hard. I've planned well. Maybe this is something I can do. And then use eBay as the catalyst to get me through from semi-retirement to the full retirement to where I can just kick back and relax. However, when you get into this, you get entrenched. And if you love what you do, you know, it's not really working. You spend more time doing this than you would at your regular job. But I had the opportunity at 51 because one of my assignments was over. So I decided to go ahead and I said, well, let me try it. I've got emergency backup. I have an eBay account just for purchases of inventory. I had emergency funds. The retirement account seemed to be set up appropriately. And I went to, you know, you'll hear me reference my buddy Katie. Love her to death. She worked for me as one of my strongest team members for a good 10 plus years. And we've been friends ever since. But she retired a number of years ago, and we source, and she's been my confidant and like a surrogate mother. So when I had this opportunity set in front of me at 51 years old, I went to her and I said, I don't think I want to go back. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I would never admit to it being hard work or stressful, but it is doing what I did. So I jumped ship. I felt that I had everything in place that I needed to do. I took the opportunity April the 7th of 2021. And that's when I went full time. So, and I did not sign up with List Perfectly, shame on me, until October of last year. So I'm only about a year into it. And I could really kick myself for not, I watched Star for 3 years, explain and teach and do the commercials. And she was an advocate. And I watched her from when List Perfectly was just a cross-posting tool to get from eBay to Poshmark and didn't even have a catalog.
When there were only 4 of us using it. I want to interject real quick that Don's not the only one. Jason says that a lot of folks say this, and it's important for you guys to hear. If you're on the fence and you come over to the dark side with us, everyone is always grateful that they did and upset that they didn't do it sooner. My friends Bill and David are the same. Listen to Star. Hashtag listen to Star.
You know, even when she's not really loud and in your face with the snowman.
Oh, yeah, let me push him. See how deep his voice is? I think it's from the movie.
We can only hear him when you talk.
Oh, you can only hear him when I talk? That's a bummer. Let me tap him again.
He does have a deep voice, and there's a comment in there, but it's not for YouTube.
Did I delete it already?
No, I just said. No, I said from me.
There was something in the chat that I deleted.
There's a comment about his deep voice, but I'm not going to say it on YouTube.
We'll say it at True Crime later. But look, I mean, he's so small and cute, and then he's like, Jingle Bells.
Never judge a book by its cover.
He's cute. He's Greenbrier, which is Walgreens, I believe. Anyway, do you want to go back to your story or answer some questions?
Oh, let's see. I got to there. What do I sell? A little bit of everything. I started in men's clothes because I wear them, and I would buy things that fit me. So, there was that fear of, well, if I don't sell it, at least I could wear it. Then I outgrew those, so it was more important to sell those. But over the years, I've been able to diversify in such a way that I sell in more than 12 categories, anything from the ties that you see behind me here to plush, to jewelry, to fabric, to toys, to clothing, you name it. But it's difficult. We discussed this in the mastermind this morning, that when you're a diversified seller, you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to keep the algorithms going if you shock the system by saying, hey, for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm going to list this. And then all of a sudden I'm going to jump ship because I got another order came in and it's completely different than what I was listing. So, you learn things as you go. But I love the diversification in what I do. I couldn't niche. I could not sit there, and I got to give Star credit because I could not be the person that would sit there for 4 hours and take pictures of teddy bears. I love them. I can do it for an hour, hour and a half, or, I can do 50. 400 in a day is a bit much.
It's ironic because I do have a video coming out. I'm not sure if it's coming out tomorrow or Monday, but it's coming out within the next few days. That's called batch work and bulk scheduling. And it literally talks about that. And I go into depth about different types of personalities and different types of focus. Someone with OCD will function better doing hyper focusing on one task a day. Someone with ADHD or anxiety. Well, I have anxiety too, but I have OCD. I think that trumps. But if you have like ADHD, you're better off doing the block scheduling in hour increments or 2 hour increments and doing the same tasks every day, but in smaller chunks. Mm-hmm. So look for that video coming out. It goes into a lot more depth. I do this every year. Like I get this desire in December, like let's all talk about scheduling and bullet journals. I mean, but it's important. You need to plan and make sure you're going into the next year better than you came into this one. Every day you should be better than the day before. So Jill asks, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently if you could go back to the beginning of your reselling journey? I would have started selling jeans a lot sooner. I didn't know about flat rates. And I sold one pair of pants one time from the Benz and lost money shipping it and said never again and stayed away from anything that weighed over a pound for like a year. And then I met Megan Mawhinney. If you don't know Megan Mawhinney, you should be following her on Instagram. She's an amazing wealth of information. And she makes 6 figures as a single mom with 2 toddlers. She's pretty inspiring and amazing. I always have to like shout her out. I love her. But she taught me about flat rates. I wish I had known about flat rates when I first started because y'all know we get our stuff for 99 cents. I could have built up quicker, I think, and not had to have worked so many 12-hour days. I think Keith probably could have quit his job sooner because we were floundering around. I mean, we're self-taught, so we bought everything, and 80% of what we bought we shouldn't have. But we learned. I think that's about all I would do differently because I mean I got into the plush right away, which I really liked, and I don't think I ever would have. I did like women's tops for a while. No, thank you.
I have 2 gaylords of women's tops in the garage that I've just cracked the seal on and looked at them, and I gave a couple of dozen away for Christmas gifts to resellers, and closed the box.
Yep. No, thank you.
Still got to work. Still got to work on them.
I like men's shirts, but
yeah, men are less picky. We only have 3 different sizes of sleeves: long sleeves, short sleeves, and no sleeves.
You don't
women
have
poofs and puffs and slips and slits and
the cold shoulder sleeve. I mean, I've learned it all, but I don't really know that there's much I would do different. I just if I could have List Perfectly as it is now, back in 2017, which is a pipe dream because it didn't even exist till 2019, but if I could be doing things now, or the way I do them now, I think we could have streamlined and been built up in a year. But List Perfectly wasn't even around, and I wasn't even interested in cross posting, and I didn't know what I know now. So I'm kind of happy with the way we learned and the way we came up and how we're self-taught.
Yeah.
I learned from my mistakes. So
I agree on mine. I think if I had to go back and think about it, because I'm a pre-planner, my intention was to go full-time reselling when I was about 55. The opportunity came 4 years, 4 years earlier than what I thought it was going to be. And I think what I would have done is, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't necessarily have spent some of the money that I spent on, I don't want to say silly little things, but unnecessary things. And I would have packed that away, because I think I've truly built myself a solid foundation to build this business on. I've given myself a number of years to get it under my belt. I don't treat it as one of those grind full-time jobs. People that see me from the outside will say, hey, I see you in the calls at 6 a.m. You're still in the rooms at 10 p.m. at night.
But he takes naps and watches
I take naps. I treat this as 2 part-time jobs, basically. And I come in and I work for a while. And then when I get bored, I went, all right, a sandwich and Scooby-Doo cartoons for the next couple of hours. And I do that, but I also, work the job and post things 7 days a week. But I love what I do. And I think going back, I might have packed away a little bit more, just so that I had the peace of mind of the cushion carrying me through the next 8 years, because I left 4 years earlier. But just like you, I learned a lot as I was going. I think maybe I could have been a little bit more diligent. I need to train myself now, and this is something I'm still learning, to kind of produce more, or to produce more quickly. I like the pace I'm going at, but it's not a breakneck pace to where you get gazelle intent, like David Ramsey would mention, where you just focus on something and you just do it and do it and do it and do it and get it done. Because in what happens, what I can do in 2 or 3 hours, some people can do in an hour, and then others, it takes them 2 days. So I'd like the happy medium of, maybe if I could put myself in this little chamber for 2 solid hours, I could probably knock out everything that I knock out in a day. And then you have 4, 5, or 6 hours to do that work-life balance that you preach.
Yeah.
That I don't necessarily have that.
Well, I can do 60 listings in 3 hours. I've timed myself. I don't think that most people can, but I think you could. Like you were just saying, you want to get to a point where you can be faster. You don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to Dawn. But if you want to make yourself better and faster and be your most efficient, which could be 80 in 3 hours, or 100 or 5, whatever it is. I always say don't compare yourself to others. But I do time myself, because I compete with myself. That's the only person you should be competing with, is yourself, right? Compete with yourself and get better. I think repetition. Because when I first started doing jeans, you guys, it took me an hour to measure 5 pairs because I didn't know what I was doing. I was slower than a snail race in molasses, as my grandmother used to say. A snail race in molasses. I mean, it was horrific. But now in a 45-minute episode of a true crime, I can do 20 to 25 pairs measuring. So it's with time. It's with doing the same thing over and over. And I can't preach the batch work enough. If you're just measuring a stack of jeans, or just cleaning your sneakers, or just lint rolling something, a pile, or steaming, you're going to go faster than if you're jumping from all the different paths.
And I've even learned to, this is going to sound bad, I've learned to ignore people. So when I'm in the mastermind calls and, we're learning and growing in that group, I have set aside some times where I will go off and say, all right, how many of these ties behind me can I photograph in that hour and a half call? And I've gotten over 50 different sets of photos uploaded into my template, into List Perfectly, in that hour and a half. And then I can just, because they have now a bulk editing tool in their catalog, I can just boom, 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 and really knock them out. So it's kind of like this thing where I know I can do it. Can I do it consistently? Can I, hey, Rosie, or Crystal, as the case may be.
I love her.
So, I know I can do it. And I think for me, it's the drive of consistency.
It's consistency. It's routine. It's it's English speaking. It's repetition. But think about anything in life, even outside of reselling. If you're really out of shape and you start walking 20 minutes a day, a month later, you can probably do 25 or 30 minutes. And a month after that, you can do 40. So with anything in life, you're going to get faster. You're going to get better. You're going to stop thinking about it. I always talk about how it takes 30 days to create a habit and then it's autopilot. But the first 30 days, you got to remind yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wanted to also mention real quick before we go to Brian's question. It channeled my inner Dawn yesterday and I liked it. It was different, but I liked it. So I told you Wednesday night was kind of rough. I was sick all night. I didn't get a lot of sleep and then I couldn't get back to sleep Thursday morning. And I said, this is ridiculous. I'm just laying in the bed. So I got up at like 6:30 in the morning, which is really weird for me, and knocked out our shipping, knocked out my shower, knocked out some cleaning. I did all my listing. I did everything I needed to do for the day. And it was like 11 and I was exhausted. I'm like, I'm going to go take a nap. I'm like, I already done most of my work. So I went and took a nap. I slept till 1, 2 hours. I got up and ate lunch. And then I thought, man, I'm pulling a Dawn. I got up like really early and got a bunch of work done. And then I knocked off the afternoon. And then I went back to work and did another 4 hours. I liked it. It's different.
It kind of works for me. If you think about it, if we're up all day long, it could be a 16-hour day. So, with me breaking it in the middle, Scooby-Doo is a wonderful relaxation for somebody in their early 50s because it's our comfort cartoon as the kid. And, it can have
we all have our comforts.
A little bit of macaroni and cheese or a grilled cheese sandwich in these cold, chilly 54-degree days that just pour that in a bread bowl and I'm asleep for 2 hours. But it works for me. And not only that, but it allows me, or it affords me the ability to be in an early morning call where I like to be in the masterminds and stuff like that. But it also gives me some time to spend with, my evening friends, my Samanthas and my Jills of the world, because they, either have other obligations during the day or, Jill is phenomenal. She's not only supporting the house and the family and a full-time job, and she's running this business and she's doing really well, that I get to spend some time with them at night because they don't necessarily, they're not morning people or they're busy during the day. And so I get to touch base with two different groups of people that I wouldn't necessarily do if I tried to pull this thing all day long, and I would poop out at 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night. So I'd miss my night people.
I do poop out. I do normally. By the time we're done dinner and we clean the kitchen and we do everything as a team in this house. So we cook and clean. Like I cook. He's not allowed to cook, but he keeps me company while I cook. I love to cook though. That's one of my stress relievers, and I make good food. By the time we tackle the kitchen and get it clean, and we usually have a cup of coffee after dinner because we're old people, we go sit in the living room and I'm like falling asleep. I'm like, I really want to read, but it's so weird with my insomnia because it's like 7 o'clock at night and I'm in the living room like trying to read. But when I go to bed, I can't sleep for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to answer Brian's question. What's the difference in priority versus ground advantages? You can't use priority. Yeah, exactly. So priorities, ground is first class. Mm-hmm. I still refer to it as first class in this house. Yeah. It's still first class to me. It's just the rates are a little bit better for zones 1 through 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's the first 600 miles, I think. It's about up to zone 4. And, ground advantage doesn't go on a plane. Whereas priority can be shipped across country a little bit faster.
So your perfumes and stuff have to go ground.
Right. Right. Electronics, I think, have to go ground advantage as well.
If they have batteries.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just think of ground as the old first class.
And in many cases, depending on the zone that it's going to, just kind of keep an eye out when you're watching the pricing, and maybe price it on not only eBay or whatever platform you may be on. Try one of the sidelines, say for example Pirate Ship, because what we're finding is depending on how close they are to where you're really at, priority and ground, or priority and first class is what it used to be, was very different in price at certain points. Now it's really come into line because ground advantage will let you go up to, was about 4 pounds or so. And
it's more than that. There's some jeans that would be $7.60 in a cardboard on eBay, but on Pirate Ship, I think they do their cubic or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And a poly bag, 9x12. A pair of jeans that weighs a pound can go for like $6 and some change, depending on where it's going to. I've seen it as low as $6.11 to like Ohio, and like $6.85 to Florida. So check your every penny, everything on the bottom line counts. Everywhere you can save money.
I have
Especially
done
when groceries are going up every day.
Yeah, 200%, and the bologna is expensive. But I've done 4 to 6 pound sets of dishes going from here to Utah for $9-10. That wasn't possible with when you had to flip to priority. The Ground Advantage right now is very comparable. And now the other UPS and FedEx, I think some of them have come into line and adjusted some of the stuff that they were doing for that same reason, that I think shipping prices, even though they say that there was an increase, I think that they're a lot more reasonable now than what they have been in prior years.
Yeah, they said there was an increase, but I'm still getting that $6 and some change label. There had been a question on one of my YouTube channels, one of my what sold, not my chip. Excuse me, English. It's Friday. My brain's fried. Someone had asked, well, how can you sell jeans for 9 plus 9, 10 plus 10 shipping, $9.99 and $99? Because at the end of the day on eBay, it's all the same. I get a $20 sale. They take $3 for their 15%. I mean, it's less than 15%, but I do 15 for woohoo, I can't math. So I'm left with 17. If I can get a $6 label and I paid $1 for those jeans, I just made $10. I just 10 times my money. Excuse me. And then I'll make $9 if I have to do the cardboard. So that's still, to me, if I can, I'm fast though. It's repetition. I can go into Salvation Army on 99-cent day and come out with 200 pairs of jeans in under an hour because I know what I want and I'm grabbing anything that's 99 cents. That's part of my volume. That's going to lead me into this comment. I'm lucky to get 20 done. See, it depends on what you're doing too. So again, I cannot stress how important this is. Do not compare yourself to other people. If you're doing unique, hard goods, antiques, vintage, one-offs that are very different, it's going to take you longer. You also have to realize the way I work. So I sit here a couple days a week, like Dawn mentioned at the beginning. On Thursdays, I spend about 7 hours just doing photos. That's my photo day. And Fridays before my live show, I sit in my List Perfectly catalog and just build listings. And I can build probably like 80 in a Friday. And then when I can do Tuesday afternoon, I schedule because it's free now. And this is only temporarily. Normally I do all the photos and Keith does all the listing, but right now he's busy doing our guides. They're very time intensive. I don't even know if I might have to help him because I don't know if they're going to get done by the end of December. But I had to sit down and think, how can I do his job and my job while he does the guides? And this works. So Tuesday morning, I do all my filming. I film all my videos in one day, guys. I just change my shirt and you think it's a different day. And then I eat lunch and then I come back and I already have a lot of stuff built. So I'm just selecting 10, copy, and then scheduling them for Wednesday. And the next batch of 10 I schedule for Thursday, and et cetera, et cetera. So I work in ways that I've always got hundreds of pictures in List Perfectly. I've always got listings built and ready to go. I've always got stuff scheduled. You have to get to that point though. If you're starting from scratch and you don't have a bank, you got to build that bank. And banks are important.
So you're a big advocate for having that bank of, getting your listings as close as you can or having them completely done to where you can push them out to the platforms so that in the event of a day where you get sidetracked or something happens,
or if you go to the hospital with Lyme disease, keep listing. I mean, that bank came in handy this year, especially because I went to so many different events, and in between the events, I was in the hospital and this and that. We had all this stuff ready to go. I mean, I can show you real quick And Jennifer just made a good comment about her. She does a lot of unique hard goods. So hers needs details. Mine needs some measurements typed in if I'm doing jeans. And my plush, I don't even add anything to the description of them when I have set in my template, unless I have to point out something about that plush specific. I should also point out that I type 100 words a minute with 99.9% accuracy, but I used to be a writer. I used to freelance write. So typing is one of my skills, but math is not. So listen, we all have our strengths. So I only have 93 extras right now because I just pushed out 60 for the week on Tuesday. So I'm rebuilding this. But you can see there's some here sitting and waiting. And I've got a ton of bunch built. And then I guess I could do this way. And you could see that I have a bunch built and just waiting to go. These are ready. So when I go to push these out, everything on them is done. And that's how many are already ready for next week. And then I have a bunch waiting. But you can see my templates. I didn't want to do that. My templates pretty much have everything I need. So I set myself up for success so that I can be more productive. It's not always about speed, but you should be setting yourself up to be as productive as you can. And then the speed comes from that. When you set yourself up for success, you will be more quick. You can see I take the last two pictures of the location, the weight, and the measurements. And then this is my template. So all I have to do is sit here and type that in from this picture. And then when I get the title all filled in, I'll copy that for the description. And then the plushies, they're way less intensive. I don't know why I didn't push that in. Come on. I have the weight and I have the location. I delete these from eBay, by the way. I keep them in List Perfectly. I don't delete them here because mistakes happen. And if you lose an item, you can always go back to your List Perfectly catalog and see where you had it. But I don't leave these on eBay. But I just put the title in here. Now I do have specific footers. You can set hey guys, did you know that you can set List Perfectly up to do different footers for different platforms? So when I push something out, I'm sorry, I get real excited when I talk about List Perfectly.
No.
I mean, it has really increased my productivity and efficiency. So that was built, you saw the description on List Perfectly was just his, the title basically copied into the description box. But when I come over to Macari, why is it slower when you're sharing?
Always.
Always. So when I come over to Macari, I have List Perfectly set up to add some stuff. It adds the condition, it adds the location, fast shipping. We consider all offers. But my Poshmark's going to look different. Bundle items and save. The more you bundle, the bigger the discount. And my eBay description is going to say that we do international shipping. We do 100% money back guarantee because we do free returns over here. So you can have a really good template to start with, and then you can have your separate platforms have different footers at it.
The ease of being able to list has really pivoted or what do they piloted or pushed forward or, well, here's the example. Looks like you've got something. What's on your arm? Oh, it's the mix of your tattoo and the splatter from your shirt. Looked like you had a creature sitting on your arm. Kind of odd.
I wish. I want you to hamster
You
so
look
bad.
like a little bird or something. More coffee. But no, when I started with List Perfectly a year ago, I had moved 3,700 items from my eBay catalog up to their catalog in about a week. You get used to the pattern and the method by which you need to do it. But from 3,700 items to almost 15,000 items on the platform in a year. And a lot of that is the ease of which you can get in, photograph it, put it in the catalog, and then just push it out right from there. And I think, you being able to build drafts, whether you want to maintain your business or whether you want to grow your business, it works so much easier than back in the olden days when I was building a draft, say, for example, in eBay, and then I would just let it sit there hoping that it wouldn't go away. That was one of the reasons that I jumped ship onto the platform was because I was losing things that were in my drafts, and it was all that work that was lost and wasted. And
the drafts were disappearing. And
Yep.
when items would fall off
Yep.
back in the old days, when you should be doing an inventory audit at least twice a year, folks. I find, and I'm not kidding, and maybe it's because we're volume sellers, maybe Dawn can commiserate. I find like hundreds of items that fall off eBay. I don't know if it's returns or people that didn't pay that I forgot to relist, but I find hundreds of items. And back in the day, you had to go to your garage and pull those hundreds of items and rephotograph and relist. Now I just go to my List Perfectly catalog, find it, and put it back on eBay. Boom, done.
Yep. When I first moved into this house, and you'll appreciate this one, Star. I moved into this house Friday the 13th, November of 2020.
That's a good day.
And when I did my audit, my post move audit, I had about 770 some items in here. There were more than 30 or 40 items that had fallen off eBay, and I was only on the eBay platform. And I'm going, what the heck?
And it can't sell if you don't know that it's not listed.
No, and another fun fact about me is when I bought my previous house, I took the keys on Halloween. So between my Halloween keys and my Friday the 13th move into this place, it's like karma or kismet that we ended up becoming friends.
You should have all the luck in the world
over the years. I met you. That makes me really lucky, doesn't it?
No, I'm saying like whenever Friday the 13th are always really good days for me. They always have been since I was a kid.
Nothing like building and buying a house and moving into it Friday the 13th in the middle of COVID.
Well, I mean, that year didn't exist. Don taught me how to use template in LP. I know how to read. I hope to have more like items to use them. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have more speed if you're doing a lot of like items, but that comes with being a volume seller. You don't have to niche down like Don was talking earlier. He could buy 100 ties this week, 100 comics next week, 100 shirts, 100 plush. You can still do high volume without niching down and doing different things. But when you are a volume seller, you will find that you're doing a lot more like items because you're thinking in terms of bulk. So you're buying more bulk, you're buying more items. And you're getting more alike items. I think I hate to say this about myself and Dawn and Trish, but I think a lot of volume sellers sell low-end crap stuff, brands. And we
low value, low value, low dollar. We were talking about, people that are so diverse in their selling can still batch, can still list, and just get enough stuff in this case into our catalogs to where if you sit there all day long and you do nothing but ties, and then you do nothing but jewelry, and then you do nothing but there's a caution on it that you might confuse the algorithm if you spend 3 or 4 or 5 days only doing one thing and you're a 12 store, a 12 category diversification. It's going to say, hey, Dawn, you've been doing ties for 7 days in a row. We're going to send you some tie people to buy some things from you, but your jewelry people aren't going to remember or know because we've switched the algorithm. So by building, if like you do, where you can go hours and do plush, and then you can do hours and do jeans, instead of knocking everything out and only listing one of your categories per day, if you build a bank that's big enough and diverse enough, you can sprinkle a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and have a couple of ties fall in, have a couple of jeans fall in, have a couple of shirts fall in, and then I think it's a little bit more the algorithm is going to be a little bit more receptive to a diverse mix of things, because I've got things for kids, I've got things for dudes, I've got things for crafters, and they're all over the place as to what I have. You can look at my store and it's like a Walmart. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Mine's like a Walmart too. I've got we're doing shipping now, so keep that in mind when I tell you. But we've got like $3 remotes. We pay 25 cents a pound for our remotes. So when we get a Gaylord of remotes, they come out to like pennies a piece. So the ones that are going to go for 3 plus 5 shipping, I'm listing. I mean, that's the volume game.
Yeah, if you get it in and you get into a rhythm and you start moving fast, a couple of low dollar items here and there is not going to kill you. One of the things I like to do is postcards. I can sit there and knock out postcards left and right, and I sell them for between $8 and $15 a piece. And it's a low buy-in. It's quick to get in and get into the system. My sheet music is the same. $15 a pop for sheet music, and it's just one after the other, after the other, after the other. A strong template, a rhythm that you're doing is great. My rhythm just only, it's about an hour and a half as to where my attention span is. And then, whereas you can go more hours, but I will switch a category after, say, about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
See, and I should add that normally I do all the pictures and Keith does all the listing, but there's caveats to that. Like, I don't do the pictures of our men's shirts because you have to stand to do that, and it really hurts my back. I have a special table here. I can just roll my chair over and do my plushies and my jeans. So he does do all the pictures of the shirts, women's and men's, because I do still get scrub tops. I know I said at the beginning women's shirts, but I like scrubs. He does pretty much the remotes all on his own unless he's got a ton of bunch and he needs help. I'll go help in the garage and help him clean and test. He does all the video games. He does all the stuff that we sell on Amazon that we don't show you and our other eBay that we don't show you. So there's a lot that Keith does do that you guys don't see. But for the most part, yeah, you gotta, and if you're going to niche down, you got to really niche down and do like one thing and do it really well. Like be all sneakers, like Hustle Babe. Or like Vicky, do all vintage clothing. Like Katie with her vintage tees. If you want to do one thing, you got to like be an expert and do it really, really well. Or I think you got to be versatile or an everything seller, as we like to call ourselves. She doesn't say hi to me. Hi, Umbra. That's Jill's granddaughter. She likes to sneak out for ice cream sometimes. Do you remember that story? That was cute. But it's repetition, it's batch work, it's the rhythm Dawn's talking about. And even if you don't buy in wholesale or bulk, it's possible to save things up, guys. You don't have to list things right away unless it's something expensive or it's in season. If you find 10 pieces of postcards or music at a yard sale, just put it over here until you find another 10 and then do all 20. If you're doing plush, like you're taking photos and you find one that's electronic, don't stop everything you're doing to take the battery thing out, but test him. Put him aside. And I do that. I save up a whole box full of them, and then I sit and test them all at once. So just think of things like that. Sancho says hi. Oh my God, he's a wiener dog. I love wiener dogs. He has his own Instagram. Have you seen it? I can't stand his Instagram. I literally sit here and squeal. And Keith's like, "Are you looking at that wiener dog again?" And I'm like, "Yes, look at him. He's long." He's so cute. In fact, should I show Crystal's dog to the world?
Sure, why not?
He's really cute.
He is adorable.
He is. He's Sancho. He is a wiener dog. I can't stand him. I can't stand him.
I barely have an Instagram myself. And, Star did put my Instagram in the chat. If you're interested in looking at the stores and kind of the stuff I have and what I do, or any methods by which, I put things together, there's links in the Instagram in the top for all of the stores, some of the stores that I have. So you can kind of see, my style of what I do. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me on that one as well, because, or stop by the List Perfectly listing parties. If you're a member, stop by, say, hey, I'm almost pretty much always in the mastermind, the morning ones, and I pop in the afternoon. I have the one with Star on Wednesdays. So we're always running chit chatting, and sometimes about absolutely nothing. Break it.
In fact, I have a true crime one in an hour. Sometimes we talk about true crime. Sometimes
we plan a crime.
Shh, you can't say that on YouTube.
Sorry, this is YouTube.
This is the listing party. But no, like we typically will talk about true crime or even crime shows that aren't true. Police procedural. That's the word I want. Police procedurals like SVU. But sometimes we troubleshoot. Someone's having an issue. Someone has a question. I learn things in listing parties all the time. And so true crime and list, people are listing, taking photos, and we're talking usually about crime and serial killers, sometimes not. And then Wednesdays, the party we co-host together, you're supposed to be crafting. Some people work. But the whole point of that party is, let me read it to you. Let me pull it up and read it because y'all know about my work-life balance obsession. Let's chat and craft. Come hang out. Take a break from work and let your creativity out to play. Take a break. But if you have to work, you need to work. I mean, if you didn't get your stuff done that day, you need to figure out your routines a little bit better, maybe. Oh, Don, I got a question.
Sorry. What?
It's the one I asked.
One question on your list the entire time. So,
no.
Well, we were 20 minutes in before you asked me who I was.
Everyone knows you.
A lot of people do.
You're answering them yourself just in conversation. How do you keep yourself motivated? How do you stay on track? What's your favorite part about being a reseller?
That I can do it in my underwear.
Okay.
And it's having a big brother, and not only a big brother that controls the purse strings. And it doesn't matter having that great job that I had for where I could take off 2.5 months a year with pay, because I built up the seniority or the tenure to achieve that, and then you can't use it because somebody says you're too busy or there's too much stuff going on, or working where I would have to stop everything I was doing on a Sunday for my own business to start the reports that were due by 10 a.m. on Monday morning the next day. So, salary sold me out. I was working 55 to 75 hours a week. So the fact that I can work for myself, the hard part is I got to discipline myself, because after years and years and years and years of not taking time for myself, I think I'm making up for lost time. And that could be a little bit too much.
If you're getting done what you want to get done in a day, you're fine. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you're paying your bills,
mm-hmm. Lights are on, belly's full.
Yep, food's in the refrigerator. You got
my garbage man actually picks up my garbage, so there's no problems there.
I mean, I pay my trash bill. I just
don't pick it up for you.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever talked about that on YouTube. So if you don't know what we're talking about, our trash day is Wednesday. Don and I have a party Wednesday night, so he gets to hear usually about once or twice a month on Wednesdays, just arbitrarily for no reason at all. Our trash men will skip a few houses in the neighborhood, and I'm usually one of them. And the lady that works the customer service desk is not a nice person. She's very rude. I usually have to go over her head and call that Nathaniel guy in Ohio. And I'm not nice to her anymore either, because I'm over it. I'm over her. I'm over it. They're raising our rates come January. I'm like, what am I paying for? Like, can I at least get the service I'm paying for?
I can open up my blind and you can see my empty garbage can right out this window, because during this live, they picked up mine. How about you? Just tell me on Wednesday.
They picked it up Wednesday, but Keith had to leave the house. I'm on live YouTube right now. Do you need me? I'm going to ask Don a question and let him talk for a minute, and I'll be right back.
Go ahead. What's the question?
This is my favorite one, and I think that you could talk about this one for a whole couple minutes. How do you feel when resellers are accused of being part of the problem of the thrift stores raising prices and that we're stealing from the poor? And I'll be right back.
All right. Well, I told Star that I had a little bit of a story about this one, because if I were ever to be in a situation where I felt that I was part of a hate crime, it would have been in a Goodwill. Katie and I were shopping. I was clear on the other side of town. I live in Peoria. We were over there in probably in Mesa or something like that. So about 45 minutes, an hour and a half away. We call it West Side, East Side. So it was on the East Side, and this was our fourth Goodwill of the day. There wasn't a big haul. Usually if we get a really good run on the first or second store, then, we call it a day. We were on store 4, which means about 4.5, 5 hours after the stores had opened. And there was this little old man that seemed to be following me around. And this was a great one because we don't have dollar days anymore. We're down to, $2 at the minimum. So it just so happened that there would maybe a lot of winter coats or something like that. And my cart was piled to the top. And it just, every time I looked around, whether it was on, one far side of the store or the other, or just seemed to be this man was within 10 feet of me. And we were still wearing masks. So this was during the, the tail end of the COVID, the masks and the mandates. And there was at one point, the old man runs into me and he starts screaming at the top of his lungs, lovely octogenarian. He was probably 85, 90, 105 years old or something like that. And he hit me and he kept screaming, "I hate you people." And I'm thinking, well, he recognized me from being a West Sider, and now I'm on the east side of town, so he just doesn't like West Siders. Then I realized it was because my cart was full, and he was lashing out at me because it was obvious that I was a reseller. He must have missed the other 12 that were in the store that had carts piled the same height. And I looked over at the cashier because at this point, there were about 6 people that had started to surround me and wonder why this big, 6'2" dude is harassing this tiny little 105-year-old guy that evidently were stealing from the poor. But he's hating us, and he's just mean and nasty, and he's shaking. And I can be a little sarcastic sometimes. And I picked up this blouse and I said, well, if you need this lacy Reba McEntire sparkly blouse, you're more than welcome to have it. Because, I didn't need it at that point. I had a full cart. But, looking at it, it started conversations with me and some of the managers of the stores that I was talking to. And in the opinion of, taking food out of the mouth and being part of the reason why the prices are going up and things like that. Number one, in my area and conversations with people, only about 20 to 30% of the items that are donated actually make it out onto the floor. So if a person that, if all of us go in, all of us resellers go in, strip the store completely, they can fill it 2 or 3 more times before things go to the bins anyway. And we have one bin in that I know of in the state of Arizona for 90 plus Goodwills. One bin that everything filters through that I know about. I don't go there. It's a bloodbath. And you have to watch slipping on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and stuff like that. That's just not my gig. But so there's plenty of leftover for everybody. And that's just one chain. That's not including Salvation Armies. That's not including Deseret Industries, not including, the churches and the White Doves. So as far as not having enough for everybody, and they give it away to people that need it, that, it's so prevalent here that it makes you ill when you realize how much is being wasted.
Mm-hmm.
So that we're taking it away for people that need it. And I'm sure that 105-year-old man that was yelling at me would have looked lovely in this sparkly little Reba McEntire foo-foo blouse. And he could have had it. It wasn't that big of a deal. But, when I was, once again, here's one for to drink on. When I was an apartment community manager and we were going through COVID and there was the moratorium, for example, there were upwards of 14 months where residents didn't have to pay rent. And I say didn't have to, but would have had to, but we couldn't have kicked them out. We couldn't have, displaced them for not being able to pay the rent. They were getting grants hand over foot, money in the tens of thousands of dollars per apartment for checks. Mm-hmm. But there were some diligent individuals that reselling saved their family, kept food on the table, kept the rent paid and the lights on. And
kept disabled people able to.
Yes. And there were many people that couldn't work. Our state was one that had a lot of essential workers, They only really shut down the bars and the casinos, some of the restaurants and resorts. But I would have to say 75% of our work population was still able to work. We still collected 95% of the rent that was due to us, but not without people working very hard. And the reselling was very important to them. And it saved many families that just wouldn't have been able to do it.
I'm going to cut you off because I got 2 more questions and our packages weren't picked up today.
Uh-oh. So not only your garbage is not picked up, but your packages aren't picked up either.
Yeah. So while he was talking, if I looked like disinterested and bored, I really wasn't. I was going through my emails because you get an email notification when they pick them up each day.
Yeah, you do.
Did not get my notification today. And that's why Keith poked his head in here because he's like, the packages are still out there. So we're going to have to run to the post office.
So she's not annoyed at my response. She's annoyed at the U.S. Postal Service.
Yeah. So if you saw me just go like this, because I didn't get the email and I'm like really irritated. Now I have to run out between this and true crime to drop my stuff off at the post office when I shouldn't have to, but it means we had a substitute today.
Yeah.
Because our regular girl, Sam, is really good. Okay. So 2 more questions to go. I hate to cut it off, but gotta do what you gotta do. No one picks up my shit, my trash, my packages.
I've already been to and from the post office, so I have no.
I don't ever go. I scheduled because I don't want to leave the house. Now I got to put on real pants. Oh Lord.
Now you got to put on pants.
Real pants. I can't. Okay. So my last question goes into. I'll make this distinct this week, but y'all know I think that work-life balance is important. You have to have that balance in your life. So Dawn kind of already touched on this, but what do you do to unwind?
Sleep and watch Scooby-Doo. I think it's important that because I like what I do and I like to sit in front of the computer. I'm fortunate enough that I have one of those really big long monitors, so I can watch things and listen to things and research things and work all at the same time. So I can go longer periods of time, I think, because of the distractions. But I do think it's very important for individuals. See, and I have a variable single, no pets, no kids. I don't have soccer practice or Christmas concerts or pets to walk or anything like that would distract me through the day. So, taking a little bit to take a nap on the sofa or just, relax under the ceiling fan in 115 degree heat, whatever it is. I think I have enough. When I didn't have it was when I worked for somebody else because they controlled when I could and couldn't relax. When I had to drink an energy drink before getting on the freeway at 6 o'clock at night because I was afraid to fall asleep on the way home, that was too much. And we can plan this so we can do whatever we want to do to relax and enjoy ourselves. It's just a matter of the discipline to do it. Or, and I wake up when I want to wake up, with the exception of the 6 o'clock in the morning meeting thing that I think my body's programmed to. I sleep when I want to sleep. I eat when I want to eat. So I have the flexibility of doing it on my schedule, and it's not always the same. Sometimes I'm listing at midnight. Sometimes I'm listing, at 4 a.m. Sometimes I'm listing at 7 in the evening. But that's my choice, and I have that.
I have to do it at the same time every day.
Yeah, I know. I could see this hair standing up on your arms when I said that. But I do it on my schedule. Time.
And my body is now like trained. It wants food at noon. I just got a text from Keith. He said, so our post office closes at 3. You know that, right? I told you our ridiculous small town.
It's in about 45 minutes.
It's open from noon to 3, but there's one up the road that's open till 5. So I may be late to my true crime party. But what I was gonna say is my body's trained, so at noon it wants food. At 3 o'clock it wants a caffeine. And whether it's a coffee or a soda, that's how I refer to it. I need a caffeine. But no, I take an hour in the middle of the day for lunch. I read a book while I eat, enjoy my lunch. You still very much have that corporate structure in the like a 9 to 5. Because it's my personality too.
Yeah.
It's just the way I've always been. Even on my days off, I know what time is lunch, what time I want to read. It's my personality. What are you doing this weekend?
I almost said something that I don't know if I can say on YouTube. Pretty much the same.
Your mom?
No, I was just doing same stuff, different day. But I like what I do, and it's fun, and every day is slightly different. But I'll whatever I feel like when I wake up in the morning, but it's generally sitting down, finding out what I want to list that day. I reset to 0 pretty much every day. So the desk is clean. Everything is ready to go. It's wiped down to where if I walk past something and I want to do that day, I do it. Friend thing pops up, but I'm pretty regimented on that one. It's nothing special. I don't have any family out here. So outside of, my thrifting days with Katie, or spending some time online talking to somebody, my weekends a lot of times are not as social because I don't like people. So I can just sit here all day long and watch police videos to see if any of my friends are being arrested.
So you should get your Apple TV free trial. He knows what I'm going to say.
Yeah, we've already talked about this one.
I watched it again last night.
Did you really?
Yes. So I get Apple TV for free and Netflix with my T-Mobile phone plan. They give us Netflix and Apple. Otherwise, Apple has no place in my house. But there's a movie on there, and you guys can sign up for a 7-day free trial and just cancel right away and watch it every day for 7 days. It's called Spirited. I want to watch it again tonight. I now know all the songs.
You're going to have all the music memorized if you don't already have it memorized.
I was actually speaking along with them and singing along last night. And Keith was playing World of Warcraft and kept looking over at me like, "You enjoying yourself?" I'm like,
when you start to dress,
ripples.
When you start to dress like the characters, I'm going to worry about you.
So it's called Spirited. It is a modern day take on A Christmas Carol with Will Ferrell.
And wait a minute. Guess who else?
Ryan Reynolds. And they sing. It's Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, like dancing and singing, and Octavia Spencer's in it, and her character's really, really cute. The guy that plays Jacob Marley, I don't know who the actor is, but he's really good too. I went into it not knowing it was a musical. I just, like, one day I couldn't find anything to watch on any of other streaming services, and I saw the little picture of it on Apple TV, and it was Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell in Christmas apparel, and I didn't even know what I was getting into. It was a musical. It was a musical. They sing it. But it's actually a really great movie too. The retribution character story arcs for all of them, not just the person who's being haunted by the 3 ghosts, a Christmas present, past and future. All of the characters have some kind of arc where they are having retribution and they're becoming better people. The girl that plays Christmas Past, I don't know that actress either, but she's phenomenal too. She's a really good singer and dancer, and she's really cute. It's just a really good movie.
Looks like Patrick Page plays Marley.
I guess. And he's really good.
There's a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah. It's worth signing up for and immediately canceling for a 7-day free trial, even if you're just going to watch it once. It's a phenomenal movie. Like, I can't praise it enough. Absolutely do I love Will Ferrell, and he's my favorite comedian. Yeah. Absolutely do I love Ryan Reynolds. He's a stellar actor. He's nice to look at, but they can sing and dance, and I didn't know that. It was very exciting. Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds doing like boy band dances in the middle of a snowy street with a million like Broadway dancers around them is to die for. Don's already heard all this.
If you say so, this is as festive as I can get in Arizona. I don't even
know. There's another good Christmas movie that takes place mostly in Phoenix. It's called Noel. I've told you about this one too. It's got Anna Kendrick in it. And her father was Santa Claus. And her brother, when her dad passes away, her brother's supposed to become the next Santa Claus. He doesn't want to, so he runs away to Phoenix from the North Pole, and she has to follow him and try to save Christmas. That movie is also super, super cute. And I love Anna Kendrick, so and it's mostly in Phoenix. And she's walking around in her North Pole attire, sweating, and why is it so hot here? And she's really cute in the movie because she grew up in the North Pole and doesn't understand any human things or stuff. She eats sunblock at one point. She doesn't know what it is.
She eats sunblock?
Yes. It's a good movie. I watch that one like once a year. But Spirited, I want to watch it.
Well, ho, ho, ho.
Yes, guys, surprise. I do enjoy some Christmas movies and musicals. It's not just horror in this house. I will be watching Violent Night, though, tonight also.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, you know, where Santa Claus runs around killing everybody.
Silent Night, Deadly Night's good. There's one called Violent Night.
Wasn't it like a Krampus or something like that?
There's Krampus, there's a Santa Sleigh, Slay. There's a whole ton of it.
That sounds like a B movie from the 80s.
They mostly are, and they're great. Oh, and Black Christmas is good. So, but there's a few Christmas movies that Elf. There's just a few that I think are cute, and even I can swallow the sweetness. Noelle's really cute. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
I'm a traditionalist, you know, kind of like Home Alone and stuff like that. You know, the quirky little funny ones that I don't watch a lot of movies, but there are things that I'll put on in the background or something like that. That's one of those warm and fuzzy if I want to watch it and feel like I'm the only person on the earth because nobody lives in Arizona that I know about except for a couple of good friends. I don't decorate. It's hard. This morning when I went out to the post office, the ground was wet, and I'm assuming that it maybe rained a little bit or somebody's sprinkler head broke off or something because we don't get weather changes or it's hard. When I came from, 6 months of snow out here, it was almost like somebody turned off the holiday switch because you really have to plan to make it the holidays that it is. And
that's part of why I like Florida.
It's magical about the children. And with me not having children, I would even bring my 9-foot Christmas tree to the office, and we would decorate it with the kids, or we would have a universal one so that we didn't offend anybody that didn't celebrate that specific holiday or something like that. And we would have a family tree or a community tree to where you can bring anything that you wanted to bring anything that was representative of you. And we would put this on there with some gorgeous lights and stuff like that to kind of warm it up. But it's been different the last year and a half. And it's not that I'm sad about losing it, because I still like to see the joy in the children's faces. But I live vicariously through other people now. That's
I think why I like some Christmas movies, because my kids are grown and they spend Christmas out with their dad. And I don't work in the nursing home where I can see people's faces when I bring in schools I worked in the recreational therapy. So before I was a direct caregiver at the end, but before I was a NA nursing assistant, I was in recreational therapy, and I would plan schools to come in and carol, and the old people's faces, oh my God, they just lit up. It was just so great. And a lot of them didn't have family. So I miss bringing Christmas to other people. So I have to live vicariously also.
You remember the girl that was in the first Goodwill that we went to that you had the opportunity to talk to, and she was just so friendly and was talking to you about her hair and her braids, and she would kind of follow us around the store. She's still there to this day, and we say hello to her when we go up to that Goodwill, and she remembers us. And
she remembers us. Oh my gosh, I loved her. She's just like the people that I took care of, and we would get them jobs in the community like that, and they'd be so proud of themselves because they had a paycheck and they had a job just like everybody else. I miss my job.
She is sickeningly sweet.
Most of them are very sweet. We went to Chick-fil-A for lunch the other day, and they had a field trip of special needs adults that came in, and they were all sitting around us and they were talking to me and stuff. And I guess Keith could see it on my face, and he's like, if you looked hard enough, there's got to be somewhere you could volunteer that you could do something with these people and not have to be on your feet or hurt your back.
Worry about being, medically involved or something like that, to where.
Because I definitely, he could probably.
Maybe you can learn a little bit more about this musical and dress up like one of the characters and entertain them.
That's the view. I'll sing Octavia's song. from here. No, I can't sing. Sorry, guys. I just hurt your feels and probably killed a few people. Manslaughter.
They can turn the volume down if it's that bad.
So what am I doing this weekend? I'm going to work half a day tomorrow. I do that during Q4. I work half days on Saturdays because there's a lot more going on, and I want to help them with the guides a little.
So a half day is actually adding more work to you? Because you don't work Saturdays generally,
we
right?
normally don't work the weekends at all.
Yeah.
So I'll be working. I won't wake up early, like maybe 9 o'clock, and I'll work till like 3.
That's cute. You said wake up early at 9 o'clock?
Oh, no, I won't wake up early.
Oh, okay.
I'll sleep in.
I'm an early riser.
And we usually like to have we call them egg sandwiches. We have egg sandwiches on Saturdays. Just fried eggs on toast or bagels with cheese and fried ham.
I make the little bird in the nest, so it's similar. I'll flip the buns over and I'll push them down in the center and put my egg with everything bagel seasoning, and I'll put them in the air fryer.
Yeah,
they're really good on a nice cool morning like this.
So we do them usually on Saturdays, but we'll work half a day. There's just more going on in Q4, so I want to get, every year we usually work on Saturdays. Actually, going into Q4, we usually work Saturdays at least half a day to build more listings up to have more to sell. Then once you're in Q4, you got to keep that bank up because you're selling more. And we have the guides that need to be ready by the end of the month.
So when do you have your true crime? Is it in a half an hour or an hour and a half?
It's in a half an hour. So if anybody would like to go and wait for me and tell people that I had to run to the post office, I will be coming. I have a whole 2 boxes of plush I need to photograph. So I need to sit here and photograph, but I got to get my packages out because I can't take 15 defects.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. That's another one of those things you got to worry about when you're a volume seller. It's not just one. Sometimes it's an all or nothing. And when you got 10 or 15 going out, it can get messy.
The last time this happened, we had 30. It was when Bill and Scott and his daughter and Cheryl, Yaya, were here for my birthday. We were out all day Monday, and Keith was inside working, so he didn't think to double check the people. The email comes on my phone. I didn't think about it. I'm with my friends.
Yeah.
Bill and I got home. It was 5 o'clock.
Ouch.
And it was a Monday, so there were 30 or 35, and I was like, "This will get you off of eBay." Yeah. So we had to run all over Pittsburgh looking for somewhere open.
There's no forgiveness. So you go get your packages done. We'll say goodbye to all these wonderful people that hung on this long to listen to us babble.
Yeah.
And then
I also wanted to say I'm going to a new Chinese restaurant on Sunday, and that's very important for me to tell you people.
You're going to do what?
Go to a new Chinese restaurant, because when we moved back from Florida, our favorite one had gone out of business, and we haven't been able to find anything comparable. Now there's a new one in the same place, so we're hoping. We're going to go there with his grandparents. So, let me thank everyone that came and watched this live, or if you're watching the replay. Absolutely appreciate you guys. Dawn, do you have any words of wisdom for the people before we go?
I think that, something that we were talking about here is don't compare yourself to anybody in the group. We all work at different paces. We all have different sized businesses. It was a long haul, and to get us to where we are, and the smaller stores sometimes outperform the bigger stores. It's the concentration. Don't let what somebody else says or does, because you guys don't know what's behind the camera. You don't know whether we're fluffing it up, whether, learn from the people that you're watching or the people that you're listening to or you associate with. I do fully agree that, you are the person that you your top 5 people that you hang out with, you become very much like them. Keep the good influences coming in and hang on to those good people that are supportive. And if somebody becomes more of a succubus or somebody that brings you down, makes you feel less of a person just because of what you're doing, ignore them, move on.
Take out the trash.
Yeah, good, very good. Yeah, take out the trash, because there's a lot of good people to associate with out there. I've got some great friends, very small select group, and I'm a better person because of it. Yeah, Yeah.
We don't need toxic people. You don't need toxic people. You need positive people. I'm going to answer one more question before we go because I think I can answer it very easily. I use List Perfectly. So the way I do my jeans is a little different than most people because their background remover is phenomenal. I have a white fold-out table. It's in the description box, or actually, this is easier to go to. Hold on. Affiliate. Excuse me. I believe if you go through here to Reseller Tools, you'll find my table. You could also find it at Walmart, but that'll give me a couple pennies and help me out. So it's just a white fold-out table. And I just put the jeans in a V, and then I put them like this, and I go into the 0.5 mode on my camera for the full length. So this is regular camera in 1x1 square mode. And then I have an Android, so I do the 0.5, so it kind of goes out, and I can get the full length. I don't do anything fancy. I don't have any fancy lights or any kind of setup. It's literally a table. You can see everything in the background. You can see my pajamas. But List Perfectly is so phenomenal. I don't need fancy lights or background because I can just remove the background here. You can do this in bulk too. I can do more than one picture. I just wanted to show you guys one at a time. So that's literally how I do it. I just put them in a little V shape and then full length. And then I don't know iPhones at all because I think Apple is an inferior product, but I have to shove that in there. On Android, you can go into the point down here. There's a 0.5 and it makes everything smaller. I'm trying to show you. I don't know if I can. And you can see me. Where is it? It's right there. I have no depth perception, but see how it shot out and it got more? I use that, and that's the table right there. It's just a white fold-out table.
I love the background removal.
I know. I get all this. Look at my room. This has been all my thumbnails.
That's a reseller's room.
No, this is my squirrel mode room. All right. I wanted to answer her question real quick, though, because she's here and I could show her. Dawn gave some good advice. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It is Friday, so please don't forget this weekend to take some time off for yourself, your friends, your pets, your loved ones. Find that balance. Do something fun, even if it's just a walk or a nap or a TV show. And thank you, Dawn, for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll see you soon.
Bye, guys. Love you. Have a good one.